What is up, guys, and welcome to the Morning Market Report. Sorry, to the TA Talk Show with Alex of Crypto, which he's not here. Obviously, he's at the Bitcoin conference in OC. You're a server right here, guys. Hopefully, you're a server. That's just a translation from Spanish, man. Oh, sorry about that. But let's get started, guys. Today, a lot of things we have. FOMC minutes coming in. We'll see how that plays out, how that shakes the market around. Nonetheless, I want to go over a couple of stuff because I see that we're having some weakness in the market. We'll see maybe if this a buy, sell, come on, buy the rumor, sell the news kind of stuff, right? Or sell the rumor, buy the news. We'll see how that plays out. Nonetheless, let's get started. Let's go to the charts right now. By the way, guys, let me know if you guys are looking at something or have any requests. Please let me know. Hello, Buraco. Hey, what's up, bro? Welcome. What's up, my friend? Nice to have you around. How's it going, brother? What's up? Not much. Well, I have a new studio. I don't think I can do it here. Yeah, I need to use my software, but I can stand fully and walk back all the way down to the sofa and back in front. That's awesome, by the way. All right, let's go. Let's get it. Let me start sharing my screen here for a second. Here it is. So we're going to be seeing that we have VVV, which is Rapid Ethereum. We're talking about that. So let's just continue with this one. Then we'll move into Bitcoin. Something interesting that's happening here, it is that we're losing this breakout retest, right? We're just ranging. If you notice this line in here and this other line up in here, right? So we're ranging, we're losing this trend line, which is not a surprise, but still, we're losing it. We're going to a previous weekly low. I'm looking for maybe an early flip of the ribbon, but that also has to do, and let me make this big, with the money flow. What is the money flow? The red cloud in here, right? This one right here, this one right here, right? This is your money flow. So if we take a look at a couple of other coins, we're seeing a little bit influx of money on that money flow, which made me a little bit more bullish or across the crypto market. Something interesting is that we have a calculation for a falling wedge, right? This one in here. Let me just make it much cleanly. There we go. And then if you take a look at our chart prime automated there we go, automated pattern detection. Well, then we have a much better, actually, much better falling wedge in here, which we are going right now to our discount zone. So what do we do at discount? We should look for possible entries, right? Something that I don't like is that we are above or below dynamic reactor and we have not yet had the chance to break it. But if we can just push up just a slightly little bit more of that money flow and get into the green and have some, there we go, some support or flip of the ribbon in here, creating a new trend line. And let me just adjust this for a second. There it is. I think this is going to be a much better fit. There we go. We could be having maybe a sweep of the lows into my red box of entry, right? In fact, I have my alert at 324 and then push through dynamic reactor and get to the new or the previous resistance zones. There we go, right where we had a rejection. This opens up the possibilities for a breakout retest and then a much higher movement. Again, is this a guaranteed movement? Of course not. We need to wait for this candle to close. Let's see how then plays out. If we go lower in, what we're looking for, it is the flip of the ribbon in here at some area of support. That's the key of in here. Much love, my friend. Much love, Broracle. Great to have you around. I miss you, bro. All right, so let's go and let's get it into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has been doing fairly well. Yes, we have a little bit of a dumping here, and we're gonna be going over a couple of charts, right? Those are previous analysis, and by the way, this one is already. Let's just get rid of this one. Not longer needing this thing, and we're gonna be trying to make them as clean as possible. All right. But so far, and I think I'm going to be updating my alerts, I'm going to be looking for an area of supporting here, a little bit higher maybe. There it is. Another area of support somewhere around these zones, which are the previous highs in here. All right. So not only that, we have a beautiful trend line, a beautiful trend line, a beautiful trend line. That kind of like remind me like what was it? I think it was this guy. Everybody either loved him or hated him, right? All right. I'm not a singer. Let's move on. I'm an analyst. Analyst. All right. The point is that we have a very strong supporting here, a beautiful trend line, and that is a strong trend line, right? So that strong trend line, it is acting upon the price action that we are at this point. And here's what I bring up my plus oscillator. Look at the money flow, right? Remember, this is money flow right here. We have green money flow. All right. What does green money flow means? It means that we do have money rushing in. And then even that we have money rushing in, what is our oscillator going down? This is just showing you where the momentum is pushed through. All right. So we might still have maybe small buys, right? Constant movement, constant inflow. But also, maybe we have the counterpart that is, or it's not maybe, we have the counterpart, right? Pushing downwards. If, in fact, if we go here, let me see, I have it right here on Bitcoin. If we take a look at Bitcoin liquidations, right? We'll see, and let's go to 24 hours. There we go, much better. You see the biggest liquidation, it is on Ethereum by $60 million. Hopefully you're not part of that chart, right? But also, I want to show you here in exchange liquidations. Look at the rate on 100, Bybit 38 in Binance 27, which is fine. But look at what's going on here. So what's happening here? We have a much higher long liquidations, right? So people are going long while the market maker it's going BitMEX. Come on. All right. Yeah, the weird kid, right? I mean, I was a weird kid, but still. But there we go. The point is that we have the selling pressure. We DT, welcome, my friend. Nice to have you around, buddy. So what is happening in there? It is that as people are buying, or maybe market makers are selling. Right? I can guarantee that it's market makers, but I can tell you that somebody's selling here, right? So that's why, despite we might be having smaller buys, and then a big sell, whatever we gain on those smaller buys, we dropped it on price action, while the overall balance sheet of Bitcoin money, it's rising up, if that makes sense. All right, so let's just say that maybe we have, I don't know, a $5 purchase, another $5 purchase, another $5 purchase, another $5 purchase, and then we have a $15 sale, right? So basically we get rid of this, but in one single moment, of course it makes one of those candles, right? And well, then while we still are on a positive balance sheet, right? Well, then the movement or the momentum get pushed downwards, while, let me clear this up, while we're still, as you can see clearly, on an uptrend. All right. All right. Now, I haven't said that, let me just get rid of this. Let me get started with cleaning up my setup, because some other stuff are playing out in here. Let me see if I can just get rid of this. And I think I can. All right. Much better. All right. So a couple of classes ago, we were expecting for a dead cat bounce, right? In fact, we were looking at the 15 minutes. Let's go to the 15 minutes. Here it is. We were expecting a rounded top at the trend line here. This was the prediction here. What happened? It actually went down a little lower, right? Created a lower low that we were expecting. We fall below to previous lows, all right? Then what happened? We went up. So our first pattern rounded up played out fantastically, all right? No questions about it. Now, the next one I was expecting to be a little bit higher. to create a double top if that would be the case. Remember, we were either looking for a dead cat bounce or a double top. So this one was, hey, this might happen, but right now, as we're speaking, where we were right here, all right, we had a dead cat bounce that they could transform into a double top. Right now, this is already gone, so that's why I'm just cleaning things up in here, and just to keep things as neat as possible. All right, so perfect. I think that's gonna be it. What happens with dead cat bounce? Dead cat bounce. I know it's misspelled, but let's just go for it. Here it is. And let me show you in this image. I know it's a little bit small, but I want you guys to notice how we have a big movement to the upside, big retracement, and then enough of a big push through that gets bulls trapped in here and then goes back down. All right. Usually a dead cat bounce, it is a bearish signal. As you can see, we go up, we have the first movement down, we have the bull trap, right? And then pushing downwards in here. There we go. Now that we know what a dead cat bounce is, well then, look at that. Is it not looking like a dead cat bounce? Remember, we didn't have this. Even now that we have it, this is an M pattern or a double top with already breaking through neckline. All right. What's going on then with this breakout neckline? Well, guess where do I have my alert? Right here, 106, because those are previous lows. In fact, I need to move it slightly above just to grab all of those lows, right? So once I get there, I want to look at my my oscillator. And what am I looking for? Some flip of the ribbon. I already have my flip of the ribbon. Maybe I'm running late, right? But I don't have my support. Let's see if I can bring up some support zones in here. Let's turn this up. It is above us, so it is a resistance, all right? Whereas we have, we're getting to support zone, so I'm going to be giving it some more time. Maybe, and this actually looks like an inverted goose head, all right? Maybe, and most likely, we're going to do something like that, which is going to be the goose head, right? So the goose head is going to be like that. The price action is going to be doing something like that, further move to the upside or to the downside, and then further retracement. We already have a trend line in here, automatically drawn. Here it is by Chart Prime. So basically looking at the breakout retest on that possible movement. What does that mean for the higher time frames? Let's go take a look at that, because in the 4 hour we have a little bit of a variation here. And what is the variation? I would say how sharp the movements are looking now. Usually we see a movement upwards and then ranging sideways where we are supposed to be going downwards, right? We hold our ground, then push through, again, hold our ground, push through, but now we have this prominent movement, all right? So there's a couple of things to look at this. First, the V-shaped retracement, and then a rounded movement, which could be an invert Adam and Eve, all right, which I don't really think so. Why? Usually in Adam, it is much more sharp, and the Eve, despite it is a little bit lower, it is much more rounded, all right? So I don't think so. What I actually see in here is that dead cat bounce, right? So we go, where is it? Here it is, we have a high, right? Or this is it. You see how we're going up, retracement, right? And then going up, right? And then after this up in here, this is the dead cat bounce. This is your dead cat bounce, all right? So what is happening here, I believe that we could be having that dead cat bounce, and what is going to be defining it is going to be dynamic reactor for already played out dead cat bounce, and then we'll see how it goes. Or we could be just bouncing and having a flip of the ribbon as we're expecting on the 15 minutes. Let's go to a cleaner chart because I have other drawings that I want to show you there. Here it is. Let's go all the way down here. Perfect. What I was experimenting today in the morning, it is looking at different patterns. if we just basically turn everything off, you'll see that I can actually draw a pattern here, or if I wanted to, I could be drawing another pattern here. All right, so either rising channel, which usually breaks to the downside, or a rise or a wedge or a megaphone, inverted wedge, right? That its support is down below here. At any point, I need to start looking for where my support are. So at this point, I have coming in dynamic reactor. What else do I have? I have a support line in here, and I have a reaction zone in here. So the only thing that I'm looking for is what's going to be leading my reaction. It is going to be the flip of the ribbon. Whatever that ribbon happens to be flipping, all right? I just want to look for and try to kind of like slightly front run it, slightly, right? So look at this one played out here. And let me add some lines that you can see. This one played out here, down here. Look at that. The other one played out higher. That's why I wanted to do the lines, right? This one played out higher, right? This other one played out higher, right? As you can see, you don't need to wait for the flip of the ribbon to play it out somewhere in specific. You're just looking for when the ribbon starts flipping, but also you want the price action to be at resistance or at support. In this case, support, because we're looking for a flip of the ribbon to the upside. So we want to start seeing that flip of the ribbon, right? So when the ribbon starts getting somewhere around here and you see that the price action is going to a support, you start looking at your ribbon. If the ribbon starts flipping and you see maybe one more candle green, that's when you start looking for an entry, if that makes sense. And then off we go. So far, do I know that I'm going to be going here? Not really. On the 15 minutes could be because of the time frame. And also of the targets that I'm looking for in the 15 minutes. Let me just double clicking here. We have a much bigger movement to the downside in the 15 minutes, which is different from the 4 hours. Look at right now that we already have the flip of the ribbon. Look at that we have the possible reversal up, right? Are we on support? Not really. We are on resistance. We need to give it some time. Most likely we're going to have the little pause, the V-shaped recovery, right? And that's your possible entry, as we have maybe a secondary flip of the ribbon, like, let me show you, where is it at? Like in here, all right? Let me zoom in here so you can see it. Look at how we have the first flip of the ribbon and then slightly move to the upside and then the secondary flip of the ribbon. What or how does that translate in here? So we have a first low. Let me make this a little more how it should be looking like. You see that? All right, perfect. Now this was a perfect entry book like, but that's why we use our stop loss, right? What happens? Secondary flip of the ribbon. We have a farther move to the downside. This is a swing failure pattern. Breakout, retest, off we go, right? So this is what I'm looking for right now in the price action. So let's go all the way down. By the way, nailed it. That's a good trade. And this is what I'm expecting. Maybe a little retracement and then a continuation with sweep of the lows. How and when am I going to be changing my mind? If I start breaking back inside the pattern, which pattern? Well, don't we have a trend line here? This trend line that we're breaking. If I start breaking back inside and I close one candle inside, I'm going to be looking for that again, flip of the ribbon, and my entry is going to be for a long in here, even if I did not hit these lows, if that makes sense. All right. So what I want to see here is some structure, some bullish structure. What is a bullish structure? Look at this. Low, right? And then we have a trend line, right? Then swing failure pattern or double bottom. Breakout, this double bottom or swing failure pattern is your bullish structure. Now you're looking for longs. Breaks out, all right? A little too late now for a long, but you're on resistance. Retest, now is your entry for a long, and off you go, right? We don't have a set of breakup, retest, or anything like that. But what we do have, it is both a parabolic and a bigger trend line. which means that we could have that sweep of the lows go up, something like that, and then you might have your next chance, right, with a double bottom to re-enter for a long. And in the long run, I think that's what's going to happen. Long run, 15 minutes, 2 days, 1 day, all right, not longer than that. All right, so that's what I'm seeing in 15 minutes. A possible entry getting closer to us. I'm gonna add another alert. My next alert is gonna be at 106, 700, somewhere around here. In fact, a little bit higher, like that. So I can catch this low, this low, this low, right? And the only interesting part is I'm already at previous other interest zones, right? So I'm not gonna let this slide. I'm gonna be looking for my flip of the ribbon, and I will be using a stop loss. All right. So that's what I'm having for now, guys. So all right, let's open up the chat for some Q&A. So guys, any questions or any requests that you may have for today, let me know in the side chat. All right, no questions. Perfect. Today we should be having, and let's go take a look at the. Let me see. There's CME, and also I want to take a look at the. Where is it? Come on, calendar. Where's my calendar? Here. So today we have some numbers. FOMC minutes. All right. So the minutes, why are those important? They're gonna be explaining you why they did what they did. Right. So what did they did? They did nothing. They just stood as they were, right? On previous rate hikes, if that means rate cuts, right? So basically, we stood as we were. So the point is that we're going to be having that meeting within, that's going to be 12 p.m. I believe EST or UTC. Not sure because this changed. Should be EST if I'm not mistaken. Nonetheless, right now it is 11 EST, so that's why I wanted to see if you guys have any questions. Nonetheless, the FOMC minutes, what it does, it's explain why they keep it as they were, right? This could bring some volatility. So that's why I expect, or I could be expecting that V-shaped recovery as we get closer to the meeting. And that is because we could be seeing that volatility. Why that volatility? Because they explain, all right, you know what? The US is doing great. That's why we leave it or left it as it is. All right. They're doing great. It brings some FOMO into the markets, right? No, you know what? We're not the trend. It is not good. We decided just to leave it as is for now. Oh well, that is bearish, right? That sentiment or that explanation is bearish. So it's going to be important to see how they, what is going to be the sentiment in which they push not just the data, but also the explanation. And consider that we're going to be having some movements in here. In fact, this week is going to be a little bit shaky because after that, and let me show you right here, we have tomorrow GDP growth rate month over month, quarter over quarter, sorry. And then Friday, which we're going to be having three of those. This is going to be interesting. 6:30, well, everything at 6:30 a.m. Core PCE and personal income, and most importantly for me, personal spending. I want to see how the spendings are doing. Is people are getting a little bit more reserved while spending. We're seeing a contraction on sentiment. I don't know. We'll have to see that. Good straight balance. Not looking good at all. But that is not that much of an importance. But so far, I think this week is going to be the left of what is of this week. Thursday and Friday. It's going to be a little bit shaky. But other than that, yeah. Any questions, guys, about indicators, or you guys are looking at something? Any asset? Engine, INJ. All right, Ava. Let's take a look at those. All right, INJ pumping, but are you looking to get or are you into a trade? INJ, isn't that the one that I'm in? INJ, yeah, I think so. Well, yeah, I know I say engine, but sorry about that. INJ. Thank you. All right, into it. All right, so what trade are you into? Long or short? I can give you my unbiased analysis, but short at 12.05. All right, nice. 12.05. What? What time frame are we looking at? Short at 12.05. All right, let me see. So you shorter here and you still holding at 12.5. Sorry, my bad. So you shorted here and you're still into a trade? All right. You may not like what I have to say, but since you asked, well then strap in, my friend, because here we go. All right. First of all, I'm saying this because my best interest is for you to make money. All right. I think you may have a chance in here, and that depends on today's numbers, right? But not quite there yet. All right. So this is pumping. All right. This is pumping. Is shorting TP. He's shorting TP. Oh, all right. But what is your entry point? But he says, I'm short two. Ah, I see. What's your entry? Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I thought it was your entry. Uh, sorry, what's your entry? Yeah, sorry, I'm misreading here. Thank you, Daga. Thank you, Oracle. 14.8. Oh, all right. Now, what I'm about to say you might like what I'm about to say. All right, better. Oh man, you got me with the balls in the neck in here. Like, I was like, dude. All right, so 14.8. That's not bad. All right, 14.8. Perfect. All right, you just jumped in, or almost jumped in, right? I want to think that you just jumped in. This is not a time to jump in just now. I mean, you're doing it great, by the way. You're doing it great. But the point is that this is a low, right? This is a high. This is a higher high. This is a lower high. This is a higher low. This is a higher high. We have not yet lost the trend line. When do you short? When you start losing a trend line, which you could be doing right now. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think you're gonna make it in this time, right? But the point is, I think we're gonna be doing this. I see this same pattern almost playing out in here, right? Maybe a little shorter. Let me show you what do I see. And then I'll start bringing up my indicators just to confirm what I'm seeing. It's correct, right? So what is it? Candles. I think this is it. I'm going to be measuring from here all the way down there, right? I believe that this is what could be happening. Let me compact this. There it is. I think you're going to be seeing something like that. So I believe that either we break the trend line, and when we go up for that trend line and then continuation downwards, we have a bearish divergence. That's very nice. We have a reversal. Perfect. We have a movement to the downside, but we are not seeing loose of that trend line. Let's see if we have some resistance of or order blocks at the top. All right. Just make sure you set your stop loss. All right. If I could guess a stop loss, let's go for a short right here. My stop loss would be at the very top of the previous candle and then give myself a wiggle room. In fact, I'm going to be giving myself just a little bit more of that wiggle room because I think we can jump farther. And then I don't know if we're going to make it at this point, but absolutely we're going to make it here at this point if we lose the trend line. If we lose the trend line, right? So what is your risk reward? 137. Not great, but still doable. All right. And as you start breaking through, retest as we go, well, then you can start doing your entry right there. Not your entry, sorry, moving your stop to entry. All right. After that, let me bring up my indicators. We're bullish. We are very bullish. We're trending up and we're on pump. What's on your side? It is the oscillator, but look at money flow. It's rising money flow. All right. So another chance is that we range like that. All right. Let's measure that one. Something like this. All right. And then just waiting for your dynamic reactor to come in, either like that or flat out or flattening out your dynamic reactor and then pushing upwards. All right. Which one of those is going to be playing out? It's hard to say, but as long as you take some profits at your way down, I think you're going to be safe on this trade. All right. Let's continue because this is not the end of the story. Let's see what else do we have. Do we have some resistance at the top? Not quite there yet. All right. So the only thing that we see, it is the bearish divergence so far. What's next? Look at that. If we break down, oh, come on. If we break down in here, come on, grab it. There we go. We could be going to the support, which is almost there, break back to the previous highs, or the resistance trend line, and then off we go. We also have a previous high in here, but we're hovering over that previous high. Let's take a look at what else do we have in here. Another support right there. And it coexists very nicely with the pattern that I see here. It's not going to be playing out. It's just telling you if we break downwards, that's going to be your first TP. All right. What else then? Well, this is your next resistance. So yes, you do have one resistance. I also want to see if I have some order blocks in there. This is not per se a resistance. All right. This is just the disparity or the difference of volume, basically all buys minus all sells, if that makes sense. All right. If that makes sense, well, then usually when we see a high disparity, this means that you and I, or people like you and I, which is retail, are fighting over that place. Usually that means ranging. All right. So I think, again, it fits between this part and this part. Not exactly this itty bitty, but the whole thing in here, right? So we are in a ranging zone. You're going to have more than one opportunity to place your position. Still, let's see. What else do we have in here? Predicting range at the top, predicting range at the bottom. Ranging zone. Again. Well, TP1, it's already been called. 1396. What else? Your support area at 1347, maybe 1313. So I would advise looking for maybe this as TP3, right? Just in case we do make it. I don't want to cut short your possibilities, but other than that, I don't see any other resistance at the top. So the only thing that we're counting on, it is this bearish momentum that we see on the ribbon. All right. If your ribbon start going back up, and let me draw a zero line in here because I think that's going to be very important. Let's first coordinate 0. Okay, right click, then lock it. If you start seeing your ribbon flipping closely to your 0 line, right, I would advise to move your stop to entry, or at least close partial position and move your stop to entry. All right, but I think you enter in a great position, market wise, structure wise. You're doing it great. I'm very happy that you called this short. Again, even if you get stopped out, I said you took a good decision right there. Sorry, can you explain again, please, the reasons for it be ranging? Yeah, of course. You see your support. The resistance is nothing there. Right here we have a, let's just cut to the chase. You see your VPVR, you have volume, and then you have disparity, right? What is the disparity? Volume plus minus volume minus, if that makes sense. Sells plus buys, or buys minus sells. So when we see a lot of changing here, a lot of buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, that means that we're fighting for that zone. There's a lot of exchange of value. What happened on big areas like that? We see ranging, right? We see ranging. So this in here, it's an area of ranging, right? The next thing it is that you have a predictive range in here, and a predictive range in there. Usually in between those, we range, all right? What other zone do we see? Here is a support zone, and here is a resistance all the way up here. Nonetheless, this is telling you the same area that I was expecting, a possible TP number 1, all right? And finally, this is it. Look at your resistance in here. Look at your support. This is where you call your trade. And that's basically it. Or you have 2 reasons for ranging. Support and resistance. And I don't, you know what? I don't see my order blocks. Oh yeah, order blocks all the way down. No order blocks at the top. Just ranging zones. Just because of that. And this line does act as a resistance again. And this one that acts as a support. Right? So that's why you have a ranging zone. Also, look at what happened here. Range, slight range, slight range. All right. And it has the same pattern. So I think you're going to make it. That's a good trade. I feel you're right. I feel you're right. And it fall victim. My pleasure. And no, you're right. You're right, man. You're right. I mean, at the end of it all, if you held enough in here and you position yourself in here smartly, you're good. Right? You're good. You can always do this. Like, for example, if you don't feel that confident, instead of going one full position, you go one half of a position and then look for how much can it retrace, and then you add another half in there. So if it goes up from here, your average is going to go up slightly, right? You're risking the same money because you're just cutting in half one entry and then cutting in half. I mean, half of an entry, half of an entry, one single entry, not more than one entry, right? And then as you just need to hold a little bit less, and as soon as we're losing that trend line, off you go, right? With a better position. But you're great. I mean, I think that's a great entry, especially looking at Bitcoin. Let's go for Bitcoin again. Look at the Bitcoin candle, right? Again, in the 4 hours, we could be at support, yeah, but we don't have just yet the flip of the ribbon. It seems like it's going to take maybe one more candle. So I think you're going to make it. That's a great entry. Let's see. We still have a couple more minutes in here. I'm in XRP short. Entry 230.91 was going exit at 2. Let's take a look at XRP. All right, this was an entry, half and a half, but let me just clear this up. All right, your entry, it is at, let's see, 2309, right? 23091. You're gonna, what time frame are you looking at, Dicer? Are you 4 hours, 15 minutes, 30 minutes? Because you're already in profits. So you want to you want to call keep it? I would keep it so far, but 4 hours. All right, you're in the 4 hours. Oh, so you're looking for a much bigger movement, right? Got it. All right. So let's draw first this trend line, and you notice that I'm skipping this itty bitty tiny. Why? Because we have another important here and two ones in two candles, right? So let me zoom in. I skipped the middle one, but that's because I have an important one that I'm going through, or very close. All right, that's the reason of that trend line. That basically tells me that I'm right there. What's going on in here? I'm losing the previous low. Keep it, man. I would say keep it. Not financial advice. I'm losing the previous low there. You see that? So it could come back up in here, but then I believe we're going to have another trend line in here, which is going to make that reversal, that final reversal, right? So I think it's going to go, that you're going to be playing out fantastically. You are already in profits. What I would say is move your stop to entry or take TP1. Do TP1 and TP2. Let's now bring up, all right, we're below the quantum reactor. Perfect. We should be short. We just lost the area of reaction. Perfect. That's amazing. We are on support. We're on support. What do we do on support, guys? At least move your stop to entry, right? Depending on where your support is, or sorry, your stop loss is, if you were me, you would put your stop loss a little bit higher here. So 1.9, ooh, that would have been a half of an entry. Yeah, so I would be in half of an entry right now. Which means at this point I would be moving my stop to entry, or at least move it closer, somewhere here above your dynamic reactor, somewhere around 234. TP number 1 now. All right, and then do we have anything else? Ranging zone, but we're at the limit of it. And another possible ranging zone, so that means that we could be having one more movement like that. All right, what else do we have in here? Ooh, nice. All right, we don't always hit it off like exactly, so that's what I'm going to be giving myself a little bit of a wiggle room in here. So maybe 2.2. What was your target? You said that your target was 211. No, 226. 226. Oh, very nice, brother. Nice. Even higher. All right, 226. It was your. Yeah, I would say TP number 1 now. Not financial advice, bro. Not financial advice. But if I was you, I would be taking some profits, because nobody's going to be giving you that money for free. You need to go ahead and claim it yourself. Right? Oh, sorry, bro. I completely missed it. No, let's do it. Let's do it right now. Let me do AV. No. That's fine, my friend. I already finished with this one. And bro, you are just amazing, my friend. You always are helping people around. You're always so nice. You're always, checking on everyone. Dude, I mean, it's just the least that I can do, my friend. Let's do, what was it? AV? Oh man, I lost it. AV. Yeah. AV. And it's not crypto, right? It is, there we go. Oh, all right. Oh, looking good. All right, breaking through a retraction. All right, goose head. This is gonna be a goose head, man. The goose head usually a little retraction. I think we're gonna have a little movement to the outside, slightly bit. All right, from here, little retracement, further move, and then we're gonna have the bigger retracement. I think to previous lows. Something that we can maybe start estimating. It's gonna be this in here. Let's measure the breakout retest all the way where we at. I don't think that we're gonna hit the center with maybe 1/3 at the most right now if we have a retracement. So if you're looking to short it, I think this could be a half of an entry shorting scenario. We are not on resistance. Oh, yes, we are on resistance. I was not looking at this. Predictive range, purple. Ooh, but there's a goose head. Last time we have a goose head, it looked toppy, retracement, further move to the upside, and then bigger retracement, right? So feeling toppy, maybe a little retracement, right? And then the big retracement. So I think this would be the next target, previous highs. Weekly, in waiting for entry, but still maybe gone. Let's say weekly. Let's see. No, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Weekly. Remember, this is going to be weekly. Coming down, we have a hiccup or a range. We have a V-shaped recovery. Let's bring up our cheat sheet. Oh, come on. Let's make it black. All right. And look at that. Little range, V-shaped recovery. And then the next high should not be higher than the previous range. This is the only thing that bothers me, right? Right now. It is that we are the high at that high. So we're still red. We should be changing into green as we break out retest. And that's your entry. Off we go. Also, remember that be careful with here because we could be going even lower here and make this of a range. But I don't see such a big ranges. In fact, the range size that I see, yeah, is on the dynamic reactor. So I think you still got it, man. I think you still got it. Your long entry might be under retracement. So absolutely, I think you still got it, bro. Let's see, trend lines, breaking to trend line. Oh, look at, I would recommend looking at the 160 area. Because we could have, like that third of the movement, remember? And I think that we're going to nail that with that third of the movement. Too many lines. What is the third of the movement? Third of the movement should be somewhere around here, right? Yeah, so we have 3. Yeah, look at that. I think you still got it. Here. Yep. 160. Just give it that slight wiggle room, right? 160, 158. Got it, my friend. So, and look at that. We're out of time. Oh, bro, I told you we could squeeze that in, my friend. Nice. All right. And also, Daga, thank you for bringing that up to my attention. It really matters to me. It really matters. Especially for you guys. I mean, Daga, Deezer, Little Fish. Who else we have here? Taylor. So if you know, you know. Protocol, of course, my friend, Total Trader. And you guys that are always around. So yeah. So guys, if you have any requests, we're going to always Omo Brony, what's up, bro? What's up? Long time no see, my friend. All right. So also, guys, thanks so much. LTC, please. Already out of time, my friend. Maybe we can do it. Oh, by the way, look at the morning market report. I did LTC, so 1 hour behind on the Piper Academy. I did LTC, so look it up. I mean, yeah, why not? Let's do a quick overview. LTC, really quick. Breakout retest. We're looking for that same retest. This is weekly, just so you know. So we are on possible areas of entries, but with further movement to the downside. Let's go to the 4 hour, right? We are ranging on the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, what we're looking for is a flip of the ribbon to the upside. Where is our support? Right here, somewhere around 93. Look at that trend line. But be careful, because if we lose the 93 mark, we are going to be going to the 90 mark. And that is absolutely an entry for me. Why? Because even that we're going to be turning bearish, we're going to be bouncing back down like that. So longing this might be worth it. All right. But still, look at that. We have a positive candle. How do we know? We're going back downwards in here. We need to wait for the flip of the ribbon. In the meantime, you don't short the bottom, if that makes sense. Oh, shoot. You're right. Thank you for that, calling that out. Let me bring it up. All right. Sorry about that. This is it. So the 4 hours, we are ranging. This is our range. All right. What is the bottom range? Right here. We have a dotted green line. If you see it, this dotted green line, part of the our liquidity zone. So if we lose that area, most likely we're going to be going lower, right? So we don't short the bottoms. If you're going to try to short the top. At the end of the row, we're still on the range, right? You short it here. I know we could be doing that, but you're going to get your stop loss in here. So when you retrace, you hit switch, close your short, open your long, and off you go. All right. But so far, this is looking like either we're going to bounce up or we're going to be breaking down. I know, up and down, right? But the point is that you need to give it a one more candle, at least in the 4 hours, right? If we are hitting this entry zone at 93, well, then go for a long. Not financial advice. But I need to see flip of the ribbon, right? Which I don't see right now. I believe that we're going to go lower. So you can either short the breakout, all right, and then take profits at 90, and then long from 90 to 94. But again, not a financial advice, and that will depend on how the ribbon moves, all right? So that's it, my friend. My pleasure, my pleasure. All right, so now it's time for me to call out the session, guys. Thank you so much for joining. And as always, see you guys tomorrow.